This is for making our objects that are going to be part of our home studio that we'll use weekly. As in the assignment sheet, I pulled some boxes from our pantry of some different objects. I wanted you to pick a couple cylinders, rectangle, square, and some a disc or a plate. In this case, I'm using my dinner plate, and we're going to use this to make some generic geometric objects from which we're going to study drawing with. So I'll remove these from my workspace so that you can see what I'm doing as I'm working. And I'll give you a couple examples of how to do this. You'll need a ruler, a cutting surface. You could either use a piece of cardboard, a piece of wood, or I actually bought this cutting mat that I put on top of a table so I don't scratch up my table with an X-Acto knife. Some white architecture tape would be good that you could get from the drawing store also. I'm using mostly common computer printout paper for this. I did use one larger piece of paper for one of these objects. You'll see why in the demonstration. So the first thing I'm going to look at is my can here, which I want to turn into a generic white cylinder. Okay, so I took a piece of paper and I measured out this length right here, and I transferred it to my paper. I measured out this length. Okay, I put a mark there, measured how far it was down, put my ruler down on the marks, and lined it up with the marks, and then cut with my X-Acto knife. Okay, so be careful doing that. Hold the ruler away from the edge. Don't put your fingers near the edge. The X-Acto knife is going to go against the ruler and then straight across and down. It's easier to always pull towards you rather than cutting like this or like this. It just puts your body in awkward positions. So I'll show you what I did next. So I basically end up with a strip of paper like this, which I put a piece of tape on one end. Now I'm going to line up my paper and start to tape it down. Now I'm going to keep the edge on so it stays, and I'm trying to get it on there snug and tight so it's not loose. I've got my seam right there. I'll take a piece of tape it on here. So I have this on. So now I have a white cylinder, but I want to get rid of this annoying top here. So I'll take this and I'll cut again all the way around. Now it's easier said than done, but I'm not going to take the time to do it. And I'm just simply going to take my pre-cut piece of paper here and put it on here and just tape. Okay, I'll put a piece of tape on this side too, so that now I have a cylinder, a white cylinder from which I can draw from, which is going to allow me to see the light and shadow very easily. Now the next thing I'm going to do, so you're going to do that on all of these objects. This is easier because this could be a long, you might have to use a couple pieces of paper to take this and put a square and a square on top and bottom. Same thing with this rectangle, you'll do the same thing there. I'm also going to have you make a cone, which is going to be done by, if you take a large piece of paper, now you can't with this because it's too small, but a large piece of paper, put this plate on, or whatever's a circle, and cut it. And I'd like the circle to be about 10 inches or so. So let's say 8 to 11 inches. I'd like the circle to be. You could use a bucket, a plate, whatever. And then you're going to cut out your circle. And then I cut out kind of a piece of pie on it just because it makes it easier. And I took a ruler and I measured the center point on this, on my circle. And that's where I cut this radius out to. And then just cut out a small piece of pie. Now I'm going to put it together to make a cone. See that? Now I'm just going to tack it together real quickly. So, piece of tape. But I'd go ahead and use a piece of tape all the way along this seam. I'll also put a piece of tape on the inside. Here. Because we're actually going to be using these for several weeks, if not most of the semester in various incarnations. Now I want you to take this and use it as a template. It's going to be easier to trace it out with a pencil first. And then you're going to make yourself a bottom circle that's going to go on this, that's going to help keep the shape of this better. And then you'll just tape this into place. You know, some of this is just weird how we do these things. I took this apart to do it for this video, and I thought I put these pieces of tape on the right side so I'd have the white side on the inside. Or I mean facing out, which I obviously didn't. Okay, so now we have a cylinder. So I'm going to go ahead, or not cylinder, I'm sorry, a cone. So I'm going to do that to all the shapes, and then I'm going to go over to our still life. So this is going to take some time, okay? I did it very quickly. Some of these things were pre-made. This is going to take us, give yourself maybe an hour. You might get frustrated. It's okay, just take your time. Get these covered with paper is the key thing, white paper, which you'll see why. Okay, on to the next video, which will be the still life setup.